this morning, and to prepare yourself for the practice. There's nothing in particular you will need, but you might need your usual staple of things, such as your blanket to keep you warm, the clothing that does the same thing, and maybe a block or a cushioning, just so you can support yourself in shapes where you're usually doing so. I'm inviting you to begin standing this morning, and I'd say we start standing at the front of our mats, just letting the arms hang down for a moment. Allowing yourself to just simply stand as you are right now within this space. Allowing yourself to even keep the eyes open and to just join into our group. A group in which I would like to include all of those of us who are still struggling after the storm last week. I'd like to invite us to feel more of a trust towards the ground again underneath us. And I'm inviting into this energy those of us who are still without power, often without connectivity, not just internet, but even phone. Welcoming us into a space that is safe and where we can explore ourselves, where we can explore emotions, where we can explore physical sensations as well as our minds. If you feel comfortable, you can then gently close the eyes. Maybe opening the palms of the hands gently to face forward so that the shoulders are open, but the posture is still reasonably effortless. And you might want to lift your toes and then squeeze them down into the ground a few times, just to get an engagement down into the feet. Maybe allowing a little bit of rocking over the feet, be that side to side, forward, backwards, or even in circles, whatever makes most sense to you. Not in the sense of allowing yourself to feel the physical, but maybe a tad bit more than that. Feeling into your foundation, feeling the ground underneath us. And once you've connected with the sensations of the soles of the feet towards the floor, starting to ground down actively through the center of the heel, through either side of the ball of the foot, and feeling the toes nicely spread out and gently touching the ground underneath you. Allowing yourself to move up from the feet now through the legs that hold you, standing tall and safe and steady, into the pelvis. Allowing your pelvis to drop into a neutral position. Allowing a little bit of strength to come through the lower part of your abdomen. That helps you to lift a bit taller in your stance. If you can't close the eyes today, no problem. As usual, just steady your gaze straight ahead of you. Allowing yourself to stand tall in mountain shape and starting to breathe. As you're inhaling, filling up your body. And as you're exhaling, let your belly completely relax. Breathing in deeply. And soften the belly as you're breathing out. Maybe you're almost feeling as if it pops out a second time, as it always does when we're inhaling deeply, the belly is expanding, but aiming today to even relax the belly when you're breathing out, creating a softness around our center. Repeat that for another 3 breaths, just inhaling completely and breathing out to soften. Once you have completed these breaths, we're inhaling again, lifting the breath up into the body. And then when you're breathing out, let's bend the knees a fair bit, tuck the chin in, and start to let the hands slide down the fronts of your legs, all the way down towards the ground. Let the upper body hang down. Keep your knees in a bend so you're feeling still supported, body a bit cold. And let's go into a waterfall movement. As you take a breath in, slide your hands up to shins and thighs. Press the hands into the legs as you're lengthening your spine right to the edge of your waterfall. And then let the water fall by softening your knees and releasing the upper body back down. On the inhale, repeat that. Use the legs to push away from, so you lengthen your back out. And then when you're exhaling, let that all fall again. I invite you to repeat that a few more times. Just doing that, lengthening through the spine, feeling the lift as you inhale. And then again, the softness as you're exhaling. So your breath hasn't changed much. As you're lengthening, you're drawing the length through the spine. And then everything comes soft when you're breathing out. Do that one last time. Come to the edge of the waterfall and let the water fall down. I invite you to wait for the next exhalation to engage your lower abdomen and start rolling up into standing. Take your shoulders up to your ears as you're inhaling, and then roll them back and down and returning into your mountain shape with the palms of the hands open towards the front. As we stand nice and tall again, notice the shift and change of energy as we moved it a fair bit through our bodies. I would love us to let loose today. So there's been a lot of tension in our area here, and it might be nice to just set that tension free, giving us permission to let some of the heaviness go. We do that by using a standing lion breath. So I invite you to widen your stance a little bit. We'll breathe in through the nose while we're lifting the arms and extending into the front body. And then let's stick the tongue out, lion breath, and swing it forward. Rolling back up, using an out breath when you're ready. And we'll do a few more of those. Taking a deep breath in, maybe a light back bend. Lion breath out. Let it go. Use your inner strength on the out breath as you're curling up into standing. And inhale fully, mini back bend, big lion out. Let that go, and your lion can be louder than mine. Roll it back up into standing once again. Take a deep breath, reach the arms up, this time finding Charlie's angels over the head. Straightening out through the body. You can keep your wider stance, but make sure that your toes are facing forward. And while you're breathing out, just bending a bit to the right. Inhale, come to center, and exhale, bend a bit to the left. Inhale, center, exhale, bending to the right. Inhale, center, and exhale, bending to your left. Go once more to each side. Then center yourself again, release the hands, open your front, one more lie into a forward fold. Let the arms hang down, wiggle your feet back to about hip distance apart and take a breath in, coming to the edge of your waterfall as you lengthen for a half lift. And now let's step the right foot back into a lunge. Once you've got your right foot back, bring the right knee down onto the mat. Untuck your toes. Keep the length in the spine for a moment and encourage the left side of the pelvis gently backwards, realigning and centering yourself. Then plant your hands down. Slide the foot from the front all the way back into a three-legged stance. Inhale here, and as you're exhaling, just draw your knee up towards your nose. You could press out to the heel as you inhale and lengthen from crown to sole of foot. And when you're exhaling, drawing back in, knee towards the nose. Inhaling, extending that again. Exhaling and repeat. As you're inhaling, extend that out again, but this time open your knee out. Find the same strength in both of your arms. And while you're exhaling, take your knee up towards your shoulder. Inhale, just bring the knee back. And exhale, squeeze in. Inhale, bring the knee back, keep the hip open. Exhaling, bring the knee in. Then extend the leg back again. Lower your toes down onto the mat. If you like, you can stay here and just bring the right knee a little bit backwards, or you could come into a full plank. And while you're breathing out, keep your elbows snug in by the sides and carefully let your body land down onto the mat. We keep this gentle as you inhale, lifting up for a gentle cobra, or maybe one with the hands off the ground, making sure that you are grounding down through the tops of the feet, that your core is lightly engaged. And then release back down onto the mat. With your next inhale, return onto all fours. You can tuck the toes under if that feels good and just stretch back to the heels, variation of a child's pose. And of course, you're welcome to keep your feet flat if that's your preference. Taking a deep, full inhale as you're creating a bit more space around your shoulders and your upper back. With the next inhale, coming onto all fours. And with the exhale, round it into a cat and maybe lift the knees just a fraction off the ground. Lower your knees down now, lifting the tail and the gaze. Inhale. And as you're exhaling, round the back and maybe the knees just a tiny bit off the ground, centimeter or two. As you inhale, lift and open the body again. And as you're breathing out, round again, maybe with the lift of the knees. So you can hold here. You can return to all fours. Or you can come up into a first down dog. And if that's the first down dog that you're choosing, you might want to walk out through legs, maybe even through the arms as well. And settling into your downward dog or four stance. And we will lift the right leg up. As you inhale, extend the leg back. And on the out breath, aim with your foot between your hands. Rise to your fingertips as you inhale. And then step the foot forward while you're breathing out. Let's return to the waterfall movement. Hands sliding up, pressing against the legs, half lift. Then let the water fall as you bend your knees, falling forward. Inhaling, coming to a half lift, edge of the waterfall. Exhaling, let the water fall. Once more, breathing in to lengthen. And then release that as you're breathing out, waiting for the next exhalation and using your pelvic floor, lower belly to support you, rolling up to standing. Take your shoulders up as you inhale, roll them back and return to the mountain shape. Standing again on your feet, you can close the eyes if you like, you can keep your gaze steady. And allow yourself to be again, observe the energy within you. Any thoughts that might be arising or present throughout these movements and flows, aiming to connect again more deeply towards the support that is the ground underneath us, as well as our internal strength that comes right from the soles of the feet, through legs, a neutral pelvis, and through the spine. As you're next inhaling, let's reach the arms back up. We find Charlie's Angels mudra over the head, but you might want to change the cross of your fingers. Inhaling here. And as you're exhaling, bending to your left, pause there for a moment. The hip might go out in the right direction. Inhaling, coming back, and then bending to the other side. And the same here, hip may go out the opposite direction. Let's come back to the center, open our hearts. Release the mudra, big lion, last one for this practice, come forward. Let the arms release, take a breath in, finding your half lift. And as you're breathing out now, stepping your left foot back, lowering the left knee down to the mat. And then holding here, fingertips might be on the ground, lengthen your spine, and you're encouraging the left hip slightly backwards to align back with the right. From here, start to plant your hands down. You can slide the foot from the front all the way back into a three-legged stance. On your next exhale, bring your knee and nose together underneath. On the inhale, you might press out through the heel, reach from heel to crown. And on the exhale, curl it back in, nose to knee. Just one more like this. Inhaling, bring in length. Exhaling and curling in. As you're extending again now, pause here, bend your knee. Keep the balance in your arms while you're opening your knee out to the side. And with the out breath, draw your knee up towards your shoulder. On the inhale, bring it back. On the exhale, knee to the shoulder. And one more. Extending your body again as you land your toes down onto the ground. Feel welcome to just stay here, maybe sliding your left knee a bit back or come into a full plank. And with the out breath, keep your elbows nice and close and lower down all the way onto the mat, untucking your toes. With the breath in, lifting back up for your cobra. You can go deeper into the cobra if that suits your back, or you could lift the hands again off the ground, while we'll all keep the tops of the feet encouraged into the mat. Release this back down, the forehead coming to rest. Let your arms extend out to either side of you, finding an openness as you're resting here on forehead or shin on the mat. Lifting up the left knee as you bend it, open and roll over towards the right, and you can tap your big toe onto the ground. If this feels comfortable, make a fist with your left hand and rest your head onto your fists. Aiming for a bit of openness coming through the right shoulder, an openness that we're maintaining through the hips. Taking another deep breath here. To release that, extend your left arm again, rest the head down and roll back onto the front of your body. Centering the head. We'll change side as you lift the right foot, knees bending. We're stepping the big toe behind and across if that suits. You can turn your gaze towards the right. And if you're feeling this is quite comfortable, make a fist with your right hand. Pop that fist underneath the head. So we've got a chance of really stretching into the left shoulder this time and opening into the right hip. One more breath here, deep breath in. And then we release that again onto the mat. Let your hands now come down by your sides. Push down into the mat as you're coming up. And again, tuck your toes under and stretch your hips back towards the heels. Keeping the shoulders open, the fingers spread out into the mat, the forearms lifted away from the floor if that works for you. On your next inhale, come up onto all fours, lifting tail and gaze. On the out breath, round into your back, and if you like, the knees just a fraction off the ground. Lower them back down as you inhale, lift tail and gaze. Repeat as you're breathing out, round your back, knees just a fraction off the floor. Bring them back down, inhaling, open front body. And last round, knees might be a little off the ground. Either lower them back down to your all four stands or extend the legs and the hips up for a downward dog. You might still require a little bit of movement in your down dog. Please have that. Or if you prefer to be still, maybe allow a subtle bend in your knees and really stretch your tailbone up and back. With the next inhale, let's lift the left leg. And with the out breath, bringing the foot forward or helping it there. Come to fingertips, lengthen your spine. And then step the foot to the front into a standing forward fold. Take a half lift here, like the edge of your waterfall. Inhale. Let the water fall on the exhale. Wait here for an out breath and use your inner strength while you're curling up into standing. Lifting the shoulders again as you're breathing in and rolling them back and down as you're breathing out. Keeping the palms of the hands now facing forward. I invite you to widen your stance a fair bit further. You could step out sideways on your mat if you prefer. As you're here, let's lift the arms a little bit further out towards the sides. Keep your fingers spread out, connecting deeply into the ground underneath your feet as you inhale. And as you're exhaling, just bending towards the right, maybe looking down towards the right foot. Inhale, come to center. And then exhale, bending over to the left. So we're just extending our side bendability as you're breathing out. Bend it over. Inhale, come to center. Exhale, bending to the other side. Do that once more to each side. As you come back to the center here, then releasing your arms down. I will invite you to potentially widen your stance a little bit more and also to turn your feet a little bit further outwards so they're more pointing towards the corners of the mat if you're using your mat to stand on. We will lift the arms again a little bit away from the body, but we're starting to change our movement. As you're breathing out, bend your right knee. One hand comes behind, the other one might go towards the outside of the lower leg. As you inhale, push yourself back to stand, use the floor as your support, and then bend your left knee as you drop the arm behind, one reaching to the outside of the leg, nose might go towards the knee. Now, while you're inhaling, rise back to stand, arms open, and exhale. We'll just repeat that, going in a bit deeper. Inhaling, rise to stand. Take your time, slow, deep, full yogi or ujjayi breath. Once more to each side in this way, hand on the back, nose or head towards the knee. Coming back up to standing as we open the arms out again, and then let your arms lower gently. Take a moment, keeping the legs out wide and really using your stance and your feet to be tall. Maybe connecting your hands to the space for a moment that sits below the navel. You could close the eyes if you feel comfortable with that. And if your eyes are still fixed on the screen, you will see the color that I will ask the others to imagine around this energy center, the orange. Allowing yourself to be surrounded with that color. And even breathing in the color as you're opening the eyes and the arms. We will again repeat our movement. As you breathe out, bend your right knee, but you might want to lift the right arm this time. As you inhale, rise back to stand, or you can stay with the arm on the lower back. As you're breathing out, maybe lifting the left arm this time. Inhale, come to stand, do 2 more to each side. Don't worry about the pace of my movement. Make it yours, your breath, your pace. We will come back into standing and go straight again towards the right side. Whether your arm is lifted or is resting behind your back is up to you. We're holding here for a moment. See if you can feel the weight sitting in both of your feet. And only if that feels right, start to straighten the right leg, maintaining your deep twists. Hand can be on the foot or the outside of your leg. Right arm can be in the back or lifted. Then bend that knee again. Push back into the floor as you're rising up to stand. Hold here for an out breath. And the in breath. And then bend your left knee and reach across. Left arm might be lifted, or you can place your hand into the lower back. Only if it feels right, extending your left leg. Hand can rest on the foot to the outside of the leg, wherever it suits you. We'll ask you to roll back down and release it, this time with your hands touching the ground underneath you, turning out your heels so the feet come parallel. And you might want to rise up onto your fingertips or even use a block underneath your hands, finding a long spine here as you breathe in. And then folding all the way down as you're breathing out. Your hands can stay underneath your shoulders if you like, or you could extend your fingertips to point backwards. Keep your shoulders slightly elevated, very gently in their sockets, and allow the top of the head to face the floor. Returning back to the sensation of breathing. Asking you also to reconnect to the energy center in the lower abdomen and using a slight engaging of the lower abdomen while you're breathing out, helping you to deepen your forward bend. Remain here for 3 more breaths. You completed your 3 breaths, hands down. You will heel and toe your feet in a fair bit closer. Keeping your knees soft, let the upper body hang down like the water coming down the waterfall. And use again an out breath in your inner strength to curl back up into a standing position. Maybe even finding your way back to the front end of your mat, opening back up into mountain shape. Taking a deep, a full breath in. Let a sigh come out of the mouth. As you inhale, lifting the arms. As you're exhaling, finding a chair pose. Let your shoulders be relaxed. Sitting into the chair as we're opening up. The palms might turn to the ceiling if there's shoulder issues or tension in your back. I will ask you to hold that here or to bring your hands to the heart, whichever works best, maintaining a long spine, that bit of pelvis and core support. And then just shifting your weight a little bit to the left foot, lifting your right foot while you're maintaining a chair shape, sorry. Cross this foot behind, tapping your toes to the ground, bending deeply into both of your knees, maybe even lowering both feet down completely. Allowing yourself to shift the weight now to the back foot. And if it feels right, sliding your left ankle up the thigh and sitting into another chair shape. Just with an extra stretch around the hips, glutes. We will slide this foot back down in front. We will take a breath in to lift the arms and the right knee. And we will breathe out to fold over this knee. Now, if you feel it's appropriate for you to take a hold of the foot, you could interlace your fingers around the ball of the foot. Inhale here if you like, extending the leg forward. Maybe holding the balance. The gaze could be to your toes, or you could lower the gaze down towards the knee. Leg does not have to be straight or extended at all. Then bend the knee again. Release your foot to the ground and find a tall stance. Take a breath in, lift your shoulders to your ears. As you're breathing out, guide them back, open the palms back into your tree shape. Feeling the difference between the two sides. Allowing your breath to be smooth, deep, and even. And with your next inhale, lifting the arms again. On the exhale, returning into a chair pose. Keeping the shoulders at ease with your hand and arm position, but using your inner strengths to support your back. You're welcome to just stay here, or you can use your hands and touch them together in front of the chest. We all maintain a long spine and that gentle core support. Let's shift the weight a little bit so we're able to lift the left foot off the ground, finding our one-legged chair in this form. Might want to cross the leg behind, tapping your toes, ball of the foot down, keeping both knees bent. You might be able to ground deeply through both of the feet. Still kind of in an awkward chair position, or we're shifting the weight to the back foot. You might slide your right ankle up to the thigh and hold the one-legged chair this way. Flexing through the right foot, protecting the joints in the right leg. Then slowly release. Release the foot back to where we came from. Shifting the weight back towards that front foot. Let's lift ourselves up, taking the left knee up, lifting the arms. And hands come back to the heart as you fold over the front knee, and feel welcome to hold here. Perfect way to balance. Or you can interlace your hands around the ball of the left foot. Another way to hold here. Or you might want to extend the leg. You can keep your gaze forward at the toes or lower the gaze down towards the knee. Then let's bend the knee again. Release your foot. Roll the shoulders up and down, finding your mountain. Taking a deep full breath in, a long sigh out. Allowing yourself to return to this mountain shape. We will take an inhale to lift the arms. And a lion as we exhale. Breathe in, find length in your spine once again. And as you're exhaling, then stepping your right foot back. Lower the right knee down to the ground, untuck the toes. Sliding your hands back and the left foot forward. Now be mindful that you're not twisting in the pelvis. Keep your pelvis aligned unless you feel like a full Hanuman attempt. If that's you, hands or fists down, slide the foot forward. Otherwise, just press out through the ball of the foot here and lower your nose down towards the knee to create some length in the back of your leg. One more breath here to deepen your stretch. If you're in a Hanuman position, you might slide the foot back. And if you're in a half Hanuman, you might bend the knee, coming a little bit forward. And I invite you to slide the back knee in. Bring the foot a little bit across and lower down to sit. So you might be able to touch the sole of your right foot against the inner thigh, coming into Jana Shirshasana, or the head to knee pose. I encourage you to pull that leg back into the hip socket, to lengthen through the spine while you're flexing here through the ankle joint. And then as you're breathing out, you can even bend your knee to do so. Come slowly forward, sliding or walking the hands towards the front and lowering your gaze down towards your knee. Only if you experience a similar positive reaction in your body could you reach with your right hand towards the outer edge of your left foot, or just to the floor by the side of the leg, while you're still lowering straight down towards the knee. Sometimes it's nice to create a bit of deeper lengthening through the left side in this shape, which what this is about. While we're releasing the shape, slowly walking your hands back up to come and sit. Take this left leg, bring it into a bend, and maybe touch the knee towards the sole of the foot. Sitting up tall, let your right hand fingertips go behind and the back of the left hand against the knee. And we're turning this into a twist. Few deeper breaths in and out. As we inhale, turn the head forward, releasing your hands down. As you come up towards your knees, you might slide your right knee forward for a half, pitching from here and extending out into the left leg. You might choose to come up onto your fingertips, and if this shape is unsuitable for your hips or knees, just roll down onto your back and creating a figure four there, or just hugging the right knee in with the knee opening out towards the side. Let yourself sink down into this shape, and then if you feel it's appropriate for you, you could lower down onto your hands, onto the forearms, or even the forehead. Letting yourself relax into the shape, and maybe with the purpose of inquiring within. This oftentimes brings up a lot of emotions. And if that occurs to you, just watch them. Be open. You're in a safe place. Be open to what you're experiencing, but knowing that it is just in this moment that this is your experience. There's no need to actually analyze it. Just knowing that these experiences keep changing. Allowing your body to be still. The breath could be your point of focus, your drishti. Inviting you from here to step back up onto your hands, maybe even onto your fingers, and opening the gaze up. And you could plant your hands down, tuck the toes from here, and a classic move to step that into a downward facing dog, where you could walk out through your legs. Taking your feet then towards the front end of the mat, into a half lift and a full forward fold as you're breathing out. Wait again for the exhalation. Use your inner strength and roll up into standing. Take the shoulders up and back once more to arrive in your mountain. Deep inhale. Sigh out. Our last chance to let things go, our last lion breath. Inhale as we're lifting the arms, mini back bend, big lion out. Coming to your half lift as you're inhaling. And then as you're exhaling, stepping your left foot back and lowering the knee down, even untucking the toes. Take the right foot a little bit forward, slide your hands a bit back, and either you're supporting here fully, sliding your heel out for an attempt on Hanumanasana, or you're staying here with me and you're pressing out through the ball of the right foot, while on the out breath, you're lowering your nose towards your leg. You can use your hands there just as a gentle support. Make sure you're not creating any tension. Rather than that, creating some space in the back of the right leg, maybe in the hips too, depending on the shape you've chosen. Allowing yourself to breathe out. Let's lengthen the spine again. Land the foot to the ground or slide it back in. Swing your left foot a little bit around as you use your hands to support. Coming to sit back so you can touch the sole of the left foot against the inside of your leg. Flexing through the right foot. Pull that right leg into the hip socket. You can have a bend in your knee while you're inhaling, and even with the exhale, as you crawl your hands or slide them forward and lowering your nose down towards the knee again. You're most welcome to just stay here. And maybe it's a nice experience to lengthen more into the left side. So you could reach your left hand across to the outside of the leg, or even hold onto the outer edge of the foot while you're still in your head to knee pose or Janu Shirshasana. Few more breaths just to surrender into the shape and the experience that there is. While you're releasing the shape, you may walk the hands back and bring a bend into the right knee, touching the knee against the sole of the foot. Swing your left hand fingertips behind you and place the back of your right hand against the knee, coming into a twist. You can close the eyes, relax the shoulders. This is all more an inward inquiry now. Not that it wasn't before, but it's more highlighted. There's more quiet, more silence to dive a little bit deeper, to look into your purpose today. While you turn the head forward, unwind your twist. You might come back up onto your hands, bringing your left knee forward in preparation for half pigeon, sliding the right leg out. Again, you might lie down on your back with a figure 4 on your legs, as you might need to do so for the health of your hips or your knee. Otherwise, you're on your fingertips, opening your body. And you might from there place hands down, forearms or forehead. Allowing yourself to surrender here. Looking onto that you are holding onto. Be that the physical sensations that you're experiencing or any ideas, ways of being, patterns of movement, of holding. Whatever that might be that you are holding on to, see if a longer exhalation can release that you're holding on to. We'll step back up onto hands or fingers, maybe even opening the body once again. We'll do the classical move once more. So if that's for you, lift your knees off the ground, pedal out your down dog. But this time, as you take a breath in, bring both knees down onto the mat. You might flatten out your feet and then curl yourself up to stand on the knees. I recommend to have the knees a little bit apart. And we will place the hands down flat into the lower back for a camel. If you want to go deeper, you still can. Starting to move up through the sternum. Lifting maybe through the chin and opening into the throat. And some of you might want to reach now towards the heels. Otherwise, you can hold here. Even the gaze forward is fine. Keeping a sense of openness through the front body. And to release that, just bend your hips. And let the body naturally unfold. As you come back to sit onto your heels, you might tuck the chin in, reach for the heels for a rabbit pose. Otherwise, your hands could rest down by the sides. And you could roll up to the top of the head if that suits for a gentle inversion. If any of you feel it's safe for you to take this even deeper, go ahead, but mind your stability and potential tension in the neck and in the shoulders. So you would have to know where this is going. Otherwise, just staying on the crown of the head or with the head low, couple more breaths only. Then once you've exhaled again, sit back towards the heels. And slowly using the hands down by the sides, and I mean slowly, rising up to sit, taking your legs out in front of you and making space behind you so you can lie down again. If you want anything near you for your relaxation, this might be the time to put back on jumpers, to place socks again onto your feet, and then to roll yourself down onto your back. Before we come into Shavasana itself, I'd encourage you to bring both knees up over your chest, to take your hands upon your kneecaps, to just inhale, extending the arms, and exhaling to draw the knees into the chest. Now, if that's enough, you just continue like this, inhaling, extending the arms, and exhaling to draw the knees in. If you want a little bit more, it's just a tiny bit more, extending the arms and the legs to the ceiling on the in-breath, and then hugging the knees back to the chest. We might do two more from here. As you land your feet back to the ground, let your arms open. And before you release, let your knees just gently rock from side to side, whatever gently means for you. The body should be fairly warm, so it could be okay to just rock them all the way. When you're feeling more balanced, more at ease, leave the arms a bit away from the body. Prop yourself up for Shavasana, be that a cushion underneath the knees, the feet on the ground, or your legs out long and rolling apart. Close your eyes when you're ready, or fix your gaze to that solid spot on the ceiling. Making sure and wiggle enough that your shoulders feel actually held on the ground and you're feeling open across the chest. And then let yourself be for a little while, doing nothing but just breathing in and out. While you are taking time now to rest, I invite you to look a little bit deeper into the aspect of guilt, centered around our second chakra, the one that comes across the lower belly with a light orange color. This came up as a card from a chakra oracle deck. And just let that sentence sink in. I am sorry that I have to take care of myself. A feeling of guilt quite quickly can arise from within. So do not do for others what they need to do for themselves. Speak truth from your heart. Honesty is freedom. Any guilt is fear of being disliked. You might inquire within yourself, am I giving away too much time and energy and resenting it? Is my anger really guilt? Taking time for self-care might be an idea. Enabling others and finding personal power. If you like to release some form of guilt that you might have built up for yourself, you could imagine chains holding you down right now. As you relax, the links weaken one by one. See and hear each one fall to the ground. With each thud, See a chunk of fear or guilt fall away. When you are free, get up and walk into a glowing orange light. What happens next? Let your mind return to the flow of breath. Breathe in more deeply, drawing in and on your own power. Have a sigh out, release, and begin to move very gently through the fingers, through the toes. Maybe starting to move other parts of the body from there. And taking your time to return the body into a seated shape. When you come to sit, touch your hands together in front of your heart. Let one hand slide down and hold that onto the lower abdomen and keep one at the heart. You could gently close the eyes and bow down not only to your heart, but also to your own inner strength and power. From this awareness, extending to each other. Namaste.